Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And we got some pretty awesome stuff, some new aircraft developments, as well as some new hardware that we need to talk about coming down the line for you. Make sure, if you guys can, that you join us at Flight Sim Expo 2023. That's right, Overkill Simulations is going to be present this year, guys, at the Lone Star Museum at Houston, Texas. If you guys are interested in joining us there, be sure to check down the description below. There is a coupon code that can save you guys a bit of money using my personal reference to get you there. Again, that'll save you a bit of cash in your Flight Sim Expo 2023 experience. This is going to be June 23rd through the 25th of 2023. Again, in Houston, Texas, at the Lone Star Flight Museum. I went a few years ago in Las Vegas, and they are an absolute great time. There's some very, very informative and educational seminars to help better your flight simming experience, as well as a ton of developers of both hardware and software that you guys actually get to try out, essentially a try before you buy experience, as well as talking with the developers themselves and finding out what the products are all about. So again, guys, it's going to be Flight Sim Expo 2023 in Houston, Texas. I hope to see you guys all there. Don't forget to use my coupon code that you can find down in the description below. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. First up on the list here is Aerosoft has announced that their next aircraft following the A330 they're already developing will be the A330 Neo. Now, this spikes a bit of controversy over the success possibilities of this particular development, given the fact that Headwind has already done a fantastic job with the A330 Neo, and that is a completely free aircraft. I always question whether or not the developers are really thinking ahead when it comes to things like this, and that's not meant to be an insult on them at all in any way, shape, or form. Simply just why do something like that when you know there's already a freeware version available of the aircraft? At the same token, if you take a look at the fly-by-wire A320 versus the Phoenix A320, Phoenix has absolutely had some amazing success with their aircraft, but it is a very, very high fidelity, dare I say the word study level version of the A320. So unless Aerosoft is willing to hit those kind of marks with their version of the A330 Neo, this seems kind of dangerous, if you will, of a project to devote some time and money into. Now, with that being said, with their development of their A330, if it's not too much of a overhaul and undertaking to move to the A330 Neo stage, then I could see where the benefit to that might be. So I guess it's really all going to come down to what the release version of their current A330 is going to be and how much fidelity it's going to contain within inside of the aircraft in comparison to the Headwind A330. It's going to be the battle of the 30s is I think what's going to happen, just like we saw with the 320. Again, we all had the same speculations and concerns and wonderings when it came to the development of the 320 from Phoenix versus the fly-by-wire, and they were definitely significantly different aircraft. They're also not the same version of the aircraft, so that certainly made a difference. But in this particular situation, the A330 Neo is going to be exactly the same version of the aircraft as we see with the A330 from Headwind. So definitely going to be a flip of a coin to see who comes out on top with this one. However, I really like what the developer said in regard to this particular statement, given that if you don't want their aircraft, simply don't buy it. That is a very awesome way to stand on that, and it makes it less competitive, if you will. It doesn't come across as abrasive or any kind of, ours is going to be better XYZ. They're just simply saying, if you want it, great. If not, great. No worries. There's tons of aircraft to pick from. And I really like that they took that stance on that particular topic, which is why I wanted to make sure to give them a shout out in their development of the A330 Neo. And I wish them the best success. And I think we will, here on the channel, be seeing what it's all about. Flying fries hit the table with something that I have never seen before, and it is a very interesting take on an aircraft, the Scrapyard Monster. This is essentially a bush plane with a absolute discombobulation and mutilation of about 1,000 different things to create something in almost like if you guys are familiar with the Rust survival game, if you will. This looks like something that you would find in there. It is called the Scrapyard Monster. This thing can go up to 37,000 feet with an open cockpit, which is obviously not something that's going to happen. Obviously, completely fictional, you guys. This is meant just for fun. Can do over 200 knots, has aerobatic capability, and just as a I don't even know what you call it, a mutilation of multiple different types of aircraft. This aircraft is actually free and can be found on flightsim.to. We will be doing a review of this aircraft on the channel here shortly. This is one of those ones that I have to see it for myself, and I figure I'll share the experience with you guys as well. But I wanted you guys to be aware this was available. I will definitely be putting I just can't get over it, you guys. That's why I'm giggling as I'm watching it. I'll definitely be putting out a video on this particular aircraft because this is just something that is just, you have to. I feel like it's one of those ones you have to say you did it. You know, you have to say you tried this out because that is. It's like I said, a combination of Rust and Tron and Lord knows what else. So anyway, that is the Scrapyard Monster, you guys, from Flying Fries Simulations. Real quick, the update on the A320 and A321 series of aircraft from Latin VFR have received an update on the marketplace. We discussed the marketplace, the aircraft updates a couple of weeks ago in regards to everything from the virtual cockpit sounds and some other features and displays that were created for these aircraft. I always want to make sure it is very, very well understood that with the Latin VFR aircraft, they are not meant to be high fidelity, study level, anything to that sorts. They are meant to be something fun, just for your average simmer who just likes to get in and cruise and have a good time with these aircraft. Not to say they are bad in any way, but if you're looking for Phoenix or even the fly-by-wire capabilities or level of authenticity, you're not going to find it with these particular aircraft. They don't do anything silly or weird or anything like that. They're just very, very much for the simpler pilot, if you will, someone who's not looking for all the complexity of some of the more advanced versions of these aircraft. So again, the update has finally hit the marketplace. So if you are already owners of these aircraft from the Microsoft Marketplace, you can go to your content manager and update them and get wind of the new features. If you guys remember, a while back, Dave Garwood released the version of his Hawker Hunter aircraft, and now he has done it again with the twin seat version. Now, these are not in line, these are actually two side-by-side seats, which creates a slightly different flight experience for the pilots inside of the aircraft. Overall, the basic principle of the aircraft is still the same. It's still a training aircraft and still brings some pretty cool features and flight characteristics to Microsoft Flight Simulator if this is the type of aircraft that you're enjoying. It's always interesting flying a fighter version of an aircraft or something of that same principle, if you will, is I guess the better way to say it, and then having the single seat. It reminds me very much so of like the A6 Intruder from the Vietnam and Korean area of aircraft. Vietnam, I believe is what that was, excuse me. Where I just think it's very odd having your co-pilot or first officer, whatever you may be, sitting next to you versus behind you as you would normally see in many fighter aircraft. So again, the Hawker Hunter, guys, I did a review of this initial release over a year ago, and it was a great aircraft. Absolutely wonderful aircraft. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I had a really good time flying it. It was definitely a welcome addition to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So now you have the option of having the twin-seater if that is something that you're interested in grabbing. As no doubt many of you have probably heard by now, Salty Simulations is working on an EFB for their Salty 747. Now, even with the 747 AAU updates that have been released for the aircraft, it sounds like work on the EFB is going to be continuing, as well as other features with the 747 that Salty and the team have already been putting together. So that is really, really welcome to hear. I have absolutely loved the effort and work they put into the 747. As we all know, it was a big hunk of brick when we first launched with the simulator. It just absolutely was not a particularly good, fun plane to fly. And Salty and the team really took it over and changed the game. For any of you who are unaware, you can actually install the Salty 747 version through the fly-by-wire installer. So that is a extremely handy tool, and it makes it very, very easy to keep the aircraft up to date and keeps the Queen of the Skies in the skies. Stepping over here to FS Elite, you guys, we found some really awesome information about the MiniFCU and how incredibly successful it was on its launch day. This was a kicker program that was designed to sort of get the production rolling on this particular product. This is the MiniFCU, and this thing looks hot. Now, its primary focus is on the A320, as you guys can see the Airbus series of FCU here, but I'm sure that it'll be compatible with just about any aircraft that obviously has the same kind of feature and functionality. But check this out, you guys. They sold over 1,000 units and raised over $100,000 in only 10 minutes of being on sale. That is crazy. So hopefully these guys keep the price down to a point where everyone can still continue to afford it. But you guys can see what we're going to be looking at here at approximately at the time of sale when it actually comes out of this Kickstart program. But they're really going a long way. Look at this stuff that they're going with, you guys. They're really coming a long way with this. And the idea here is to come up with even a deluxe version, which is a full FCP. That would be crazy. I would love to have something like that. It just, my thing with things like this is I find them to be very, very hard to find room for. And then you find yourself very dedicated to a particular type of aircraft or flight. I think that's the only reason why I've stayed away from this kind of stuff is it comes down to that how restricted do you want to be based on what you're flying? I mean, because when you're looking at projects like this, I mean, that's obviously a lot of space that's going to take up to support this kind of feature. But holy cow, man, these guys are absolutely amazing. It looks slick. I cannot take that away from them. This looks absolutely beautiful. I love the texturing and everything they've done with it. Now, this still looks like a generated version of the product, but if it comes out anything like this, like the MiniFCU is going to be hard to ignore. I think this is going to be one that I'm really going to have to take a lot of time and consider purchasing for myself, because this is definitely something that could come a long way. I'm really impressed with this. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about the MiniFCU, if that's something that you're going to add to your cockpit. Ooh, we have some competition happening here now. So SimpleFCU was something that came out about a year ago, and what they were doing was a purchase of plans. Essentially, is what would happen. You'd have to purchase the 3D printer files, then all the hardware, blah blah blah, in order to build your SimpleFCU. Now, what they've started doing is, and this has been out for a while now. You know, I think this was posted back on the 30th of May. This is again another article from FS Elite. By the way, guys, stay in touch with FS Elite, guys. It's where I get a lot of my information from as well. So it's a really handy resource. Anyway, I digress. So here's the kicker here. So SimpleFCU has also made an assembly kit where now they just ship you a kit. You still assemble it. And, it works with the Ryzen module Microsoft Flight Simulator and gives you the ability to control your autopilot functions in any, just about, I can't see why you wouldn't, in any of the commercial aircraft. Here's the catch. We were just talking about the MiniFCU and it being, let's call it $150. Let's call it $150 solid, right? Now, obviously those prices are subject to change. Obviously that's part of the Kickstart program. And, I'm sure some of that's going to go a bit higher. This particular product that you would have to assemble yourself is 268 euros. Okay. So when you throw that out there, that kind of, that blew me away. That blew me away. I wasn't expecting to see that high of a price for something that you have to assemble yourself. And I don't mean this negatively towards the developer. We're all trying new things here, and I commend all of these developers who are putting out products like this. They're still reaching the market of many people who may not be able to get this kind of stuff any other way. So I do not want to put the developer down, but I hope that they're looking at their price and going, well, now that this MiniFCU is out, and looking at their price points and how quickly they sold out, maybe we should reevaluate some of these costs. But that's just me. That's just my recommendation, especially for something you have to assemble yourself, where the MiniFCU is plug and play. So something to be thinking about there. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys' take on that kind of a competition going back and forth here, because that's a major difference, and that is a really high price for something you have to put together yourself, in my humble opinion. The last thing I want to get you guys ready for is this week you're going to see a ton of new hardware. You're going to see a new flight system. you're going to see a whole bunch of really awesome stuff on the channel this coming week, guys. It is going to be incredible. There's going to be a major competition or a raffle starting from a major simulator developer. And again, you guys will know more about that tomorrow, I promise. Is when you guys will hear about that information. Again, new hardware. We have rudder pedals that we're going to be showing off, 2 different types. We have a collective we're going to be showing off, which is superb. And just a ton of really awesome stuff, you guys. So make sure that you guys stay close to the channel. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. It really does help, and it makes a lot of this stuff possible. Trust me, my channel would not be able to do many of the things it does without your support. And as always, you guys, make sure, if you still can, if it's not too late, to jump on board with Flight Sim Expo 2023. I've already heard from so many of you guys, even developers and attendees that are looking forward to meeting me. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys as well. So it's going to be a really fun time. We're just a couple weeks away from that now, so getting super stoked about that. And as we get closer and closer, hopefully we'll find some sort of time to meet up. That would be kind of fun and have pick a location where we can all join up. But we'll see what happens as time moves forward. It's going to be a pretty busy weekend, definitely. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all in the next one.